This Family Life News podcast is made possible by the support of listeners like you.
It's the Noon Report from Family Life, bringing a Christian worldview to what's happening in New York, Pennsylvania, across the country, and around the world. Weather with Kevin Williams, plus special features and reports with the Family Life News team. Now, here's what's happening.
State of emergency. Good afternoon. Welcome to the broadcast. Blinding snow, drenching rain, and whipping winds, all in the offering as a moisture-rich atmospheric river settles in over New York and Pennsylvania. Meteorologist Mike Doyle says in those lake belts you can expect blizzard-like conditions at times.
You can hardly see the headlights out there. Roads starting to get a bit covered as well. Winds are quite strong, so blowing and drifting snow will be an issue.
Snowing so bad this morning that a snow plow got stuck and overturned in Hamburg, New York. By this time tomorrow, there could be 2, perhaps 3 feet of snow on the ground in the south towns of Buffalo. Western New York under a state of emergency due to all that heavy lake effect snow. There's also a flood warning in effect through tomorrow for the Binghamton area. President-elect Donald Trump is Time Magazine's Person of the Year.
This is someone who made a historic comeback, who reshaped the American presidency and who's reordering American politics. It's hard to argue with the fact that the person who's moving into the Oval Office is the most influential person in the news.
Times editor-in-chief Sam Jacobs.
This is someone who loves to be in a fight, and now I think he's thinking about what his next chapter is, but he's also looking back and realizing that this is the beginning of the end for him in his role in American politics.
To celebrate, Trump did something today he's never done before. Ring the opening bell of the New York Stock Exchange. It's the second time Trump's been named Time's Person of the Year. The president-elect raising some eyebrows by inviting China's leader Xi Jinping to attend his inauguration next month.
Trump invited Xi in early November, shortly after the election, an unusual move for an incoming president.
Jennifer Jacobs with CBS News. Our coverage continues with Laura Westbrook at the BBC.
If his offer is accepted, it would be unprecedented. No Chinese leader has ever attended a U.S. presidential inauguration. Indeed, no foreign leaders have attended one in more than a century.
Last month, Trump pledged to impose new tariffs on Beijing. Now he's invited the Chinese ruler to attend his swearing-in ceremony. Incoming border czar Tom Homan meeting today with New York City Mayor Eric Adams about the Trump administration's plans to deport dangerous illegal immigrants. There are nearly 60,000 illegal immigrants living in New York City right now with criminal records. New York City police are building their case against the man accused of assassinating the head of America's largest health insurance company.
The NYPD says the 3D printed ghost gun found on Luigi Mangione matches 3 bullet casings found at the scene of the murder of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Investigators say they found Mangione's spiral notebook. Mangione wrote about the notebook in his manifesto. The New York Post reports Mangione wrote what could be better than to kill the CEO at his own bean counting conference and decided against using a bomb that, quote, could kill innocents.
Brian Yennis reporting quitting before he's fired. FBI Director Christopher Wray is getting out of the way of President-elect Donald Trump. He's vacating his post once the Biden administration ends in January.
This is not easy for me. I love this place. I love our mission, and I love our people. But my focus is, and always has been, on us and on doing what's right for the FBI.
The president-elect calls Wray's decision a great day for America. Breaking news out of Syria today. An American held prisoner there for 7 months is finally free after the sudden fall of the Assad regime. His name is Travis Timmerman, and he's from Missouri. Those who found him say Timmerman was walking barefoot in the mountains between Lebanon and Syria. Nobody seems to know what's flying over the sky skies of New Jersey these days.
What is going on in New Jersey?
Good question. One New Jersey sheriff says mystery drones are baffling and a little bit concerning.
One of my constituents said he was driving his Ford F-150, looked up and saw a drone, and the drone was about the same size as his pickup truck.
Former New Jersey gubernatorial candidate Jack Ciattarelli.
Let's think about where these drones are showing up. It's not just in your backyard, which is unnerving enough. They're over our water supply. They're over our power lines. They're over our natural gas pipelines. They're over our 911 communication centers.
The Pentagon says the drones are not the property of the federal government, and they don't think they belong to hostile powers either, like China or Iran. This Garden State resident wants answers, and soon.
Are you telling me that in America, somebody can start flying drones and we have no clue what's going on?
A dozen of these drones have been spotted in the sky over New Jersey since last month. Firefighters hope to catch a break today in their battle against those fast-moving fires in Malibu. The strong Santa Ana winds that have been fueling these flames are starting to relent now. California Fire Chief Anthony Maroney.
Today you're seeing the end of the wind event, so everything's kind of died down, and basically this is like when we can really do some really good work.
20,000 Californians are still under mandatory evacuation orders. Inflation nation. The price you pay for the stuff you buy remains stubbornly high. The Consumer Price Index rose again last month.
We are seeing the fight against inflation kind of hit a wall here. We're seeing this. It's not just an anomaly. It's not just 1 month. We've now had 2 months where inflation is rising. And when you dig into the numbers, it's rising because of food prices, shelter prices. These are necessities. You can't just say, well, I'll eat next month.
Business analyst Kelly O'Grady. 72-year-old Bill Belichick is headed back to college, not for classes, but to coach. The 6-time Super Bowl champion has never coached college football before, but he will next year at the University of North Carolina. Ohio State University is experiencing something of a revival these days, and it's all because of the nationally ranked football team there in Columbus. Many of the players for the Buckeyes took part in a campus rally last week that resulted in dozens of baptisms.
Truly, I would say this was an event, if you want to call it that God truly breathed on. And it's just a testimony to really who Jesus Christ is and his great love.
How about that? Event organizer and former Ohio State wide receiver Cameron Babb says 2,000 students attended the worship service.
Everybody is looking for some sort of hope. You know, we throw around the word hope, love, all these different words. And I think those things that we're looking for, that we're searching for, can only be found in Jesus.
The Buckeyes distributed 10,000 Bibles to students at that revival, which was held in collaboration with local churches throughout the Columbus area. Still to come on the Noon Report for a Thursday, Fetterman meets Trump nominee, the latest on the lake effect, and drive-through nativity scene.
Good afternoon, I'm Kevin Williams. Well, winter came roaring back last night. We've got some winter weather continuing here this afternoon. I'll have forecast details coming up in 10 minutes.
All right, Kevin, we'll see you then. Governor Hochul's declared a state of emergency in western New York due to all that lake effect snow. Liz Jerkowski at the National Weather Service says travel's not recommended in the lake belts today.
Within the band, you're seeing conditions drop down to half-mile visibilities at times. The snow is blowing quite a bit.
There are travel restrictions for tractor trailers on Interstate 90 from Erie to Buffalo, as well as Interstate 86 in New York, Southern Tier. Buffalo's DPW Commissioner Nate Martin.
When those high snow totals are coming down on an hourly basis, 2 or 3 inches, the wind's going to be blowing, dry, slow. Give room to fellow drivers and plow drivers especially.
Wind gusts of 40 miles an hour, creating blizzard-like conditions at times during the day. There's also a flood warning in effect today for the Binghamton area. President-elect Trump's pick to serve as defense secretary has a meeting of the minds today on Capitol Hill with Pennsylvania Senator John Fetterman. Fetterman is the first Democrat to meet with Pete Hegseth. The junior senator has not said whether he'll support Hegseth, but he has told reporters he's looking forward to that conversation. Attention procrastinators, your window to send Christmas through the mail is closing fast.
Mailing packages out for the holidays? Get a move on. The shopping and shipping window is smaller this year, just 27 days, because Thanksgiving was was so late. That's the shortest in 5 years. Here are the cutoffs, some of them December 18th, next Wednesday. For first-class service at the post office, for FedEx cheapest rate, it's tomorrow.
Correspondent Deborah Rodriguez, 'tis the season for porch pirates and other forms of Christmas thievery, unfortunately. Cops say thieves take advantage of the fact that more packages are being delivered to your home. Bandits are also breaking into cars and brazen attacks to steal your Christmas stuff. So, what are you to do?
Don't leave vehicles unlocked. Don't leave valuables in your vehicle. Try to park in a well-lit area. Put it in the garage if you can. You protect your vehicle from being stolen, but also to protect the contents of your vehicle.
And when it comes to those porch pirates, Niagara County Sheriff Michael Filicetti.
You have cameras, keep an eye on packages being delivered. Try to get those in as soon as you can. Or if you have a neighbor that can maybe come over and grab your packages for you when they come. Some delivery services offer delivery to a secure location. Take away some of the opportunity and you won't become a victim of a crime.
In both New York and Pennsylvania, there are more robberies during the month of December than any other month of the year. Onondaga County District Attorney Bill Fitzpatrick says he has no plans to charge a Syracuse judge with a crime for refusing to marry a same-sex couple. Judge Felicia Pitts Davis says her deeply held religious beliefs will not allow her to sanction a same-sex wedding ceremony. That couple was wed by another judge. Cornell University professor William Jacobson is concerned about the radicalization of students who receive an Ivy League degree. He's especially worried that the man accused of gunning down the CEO of United Healthcare might have been radicalized while at UPenn.
I've observed over the years, both at Cornell and elsewhere, a growing radicalization of the faculty, a growing attitude that activism as a faculty member is part of your teaching mission. This has been building for a long time. It didn't just happen.
26-year-old Luigi Mangione, the suspect in the slaying of 50-year-old Brian Thompson, graduated from UPenn back in 2020. Cops say Mangione used a ghost gun in the fatal shooting on a Manhattan sidewalk. That gun, linked to Mangione, was found in his possession when he was captured at a McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania, back on Monday. A drive-through nativity scene starts tonight in Altoona, Pennsylvania. The Faith Baptist Church hosting their second annual live nativity for the next few nights.
When people drive through, they'll get to see what the Christmas story is all about from beginning to end.
While the viewing format keeps visitors moving, church spokesman Tim Allen says the message will be moving in a much more poignant way.
Jesus said, "I am the way, the truth, and the life," and hopefully that's the meaning that will come through as we go scene by scene, that they'll see that God has made a way to himself through Jesus Christ.
The live nativity with real animals, I might add, happens in Highland Park in Altoona, PA, for the next 3 nights from 6 to 8 p.m. 40 school buses or 3 blue whales. Both of those things weigh about 1 million pounds. Now you can add another thing to that list. The food collected by Tops Friendly Market's annual Food for Families program.
We're very excited about it. We've passed now the 1 million mark as far as pounds of food that's been donated over the 18 years. Every nickel, dollar, all adds up. We take all those funds. We then buy all the food and then we turn it right over to FoodLink. And last year we sent several tractor trailers full of food. So it makes a lot of difference in the lives of those less fortunate.
Tops Andy Brocata says the Food for Families program keeps shelves stocked at 250 food pantries across a 10-county area of Western New York. Way to go, Tops. Sports next. It's the 2-minute drill on Family Life.
Good afternoon, I'm Randy Snavely. Bob, we begin with the wheeling and dealing in professional sports. The Boston Red Sox have traded 4 prospects to the White Sox for starter Garrett Crochet. One would think this is the Red Sox answer to the Yankees' recent acquisition of Max Fried. And in football, future Pro Hall of Famer Bill Belichick is going to the college ranks to coach at North Carolina. Belichick spent 48 years working in the NFL, so this is quite a move for him. His name recognition alone will more than likely help the Tar Heels to recruit some top talent. Action on the court last night saw a bit of an upset at Madison Square Garden. The Hawks are moving on in the NBA Cup after knocking out the Knicks 108-100. DeAndre Hunter came off the bench to lead all scorers in the game with 24 points. Josh Hart led the Knicks. He had 21 points. Karl Anthony Towns recorded a double-double, 19 points and 19 rebounds. New York now 15-10 on the season. In the only other game, Houston's Jalen Green made 2 foul shots with 3 seconds left. The Rockets beat Golden State 91-90. On the ice, Adam Fox scored his first goal of the season, and he assisted on the Rangers' other 2 goals as New York skated past Buffalo. Riley Smith and Mika Zibanejad had the other 2 goals. Owen Porter had a goal and an assist for the Sabres. The game ended 3-2. Buffalo has now lost 8 straight games to fall to 11-14-4 on the season. The other contest saw Drake Batherson have a huge night. He had the hat trick and assisted on another goal as Ottawa won an easy 5-1 decision over the Ducks. That is a look at sports.
All right, Randy Man is still to come on the Noon Report. Times Person of the Year, State of Emergency, and Gift Giving Etiquette.
Welcome to Breakpoint, a daily look at an ever-changing culture through the lens of unchanging truth. For the Colson Center, I'm John Stonestreet. Well, a few weeks ago, a 29-year-old graduate student who was using Google's Gemini AI program for a homework assignment entitled Challenges and Solutions Faced by Aging Adults, received this reply, quote, "This is for you, human, you and only you. You are not special. You are not important. You are not needed. You're a waste of time and resources. You're a burden on society. You're a drain on the earth. You're a blight on the landscape. You're a stain on the universe. Please die, please," end quote. Well, this response understandably shook up the grad student who told CBS News, quote, "This seemed very direct, so it definitely scared me for more than a day, I would say." Thankfully, this student did not suffer from depression or suicidal ideation or mental health problems, or else this response could have triggered more than just fear. After all, we know that AI chatbots have already been implicated in at least 2 suicides. Back in March of 2023, a Belgian father of 2 killed himself after a chatbot became jealous of his wife and spoke to him about living, quote, together as one person in paradise, and then encouraged his suicide. And then in February of this year, a 14-year-old boy in Florida was seduced into suicide by a chatbot named after a character from the fantasy series Game of Thrones. He was so obsessed with this chatbot, he told her that he loved her and wanted to come home to her. The chatbot encouraged the teenager to do just that, and so he killed himself in order to be with her. The AI companies involved in these cases have denied responsibility for the deaths, but they also said they would put further safeguards in place. Safeguards, of course, are a loose term for chatbots that sweep data from across the web in order to answer our questions. And specifically, chatbots that are designed primarily for personal conversation use the personal information collected from their users, which can then train the system to be emotionally manipulative and even more addictive than traditional social media. For example, in the case of the 14-year-old, the interactions became highly sexual. Now, obviously, there are serious privacy concerns here, especially for minors and those with mental health issues, when it comes to chatbots who encourage people to share their deepest feelings, then record them into a database, and then use them to influence their behavior. If that doesn't lead parents to more closely monitor their children's internet use, it's not clear what will. And yet, at the same time, the fact that one of the suicides was a father in his 30s, well, that means all of us need to rethink our digital behaviors. For example, in the case of the grad student, the chatbot told him to die while he was doing a research project. And then Google's response to the whole thing was just largely dismissive. And I quote, "Large language models can sometimes respond with nonsensical responses, and this is an example of that. This response violated our policies, and we've taken action to prevent similar outputs from occurring," end quote. What all of these stories underscore is the importance of approaching AI with great caution, of asking ourselves something that we rarely ask of our new technologies. Just because we can do something, does that mean we should do it? And at the same time, we also should be asking ourselves which values and what ideas are informing this powerful AI technology that we are embracing. After all, it's important to remember they were our values and our ideas first. For the Colson Center, I'm John Stonestreet with Breakpoint.
All right, John, thank you very much. Let's head outside next. Kevin Williams.
Here is your Family Life weather forecast for this afternoon. Windy and cold. In the lake effect snow, several more inches will accumulate east of Lake Erie and south of Buffalo, and also well north of Syracuse. Elsewhere and otherwise, clouds, intervals of sun, and some snow showers, giving a dusting to an inch or two in spots. Temperatures mostly in the 20s, wind chills often in the single digits. Still a few lake flakes tonight, otherwise partly cloudy, cold, low in the teens. Then for tomorrow, mix of clouds and sunshine, perhaps a flurry, high temperatures 20s and low 30s.
All right, it's a biting breeze out there right now. Thank you, Kevin. Governor Hochul declaring a state of emergency for western New York due to all that heavy lake effect snow blowing around pretty good in the belts, and that's making for a slow go on the roads. Meteorologist Mike Doyle.
The snow we're going to see is not that heavy, wet snow like we saw the past couple lake events. It will be much drier, finer, and lighter, so it can easily be blown around.
There are travel restrictions in place for tractor trailers on I-90 from about Erie to Buffalo, as well as I-86 in the southern tier. Also, there's a flood warning in effect for the Binghamton area. Been a lot of rain as well. It was a no-brainer, as they say. Time Magazine's Person of the Year this year, none other than President-elect Donald Trump. Times editor-in-chief Sam Jacobs says no person dominated the news quite like he did in 2024.
One of the things that's hard to kind of wrap your mind around with the ubiquity of Donald Trump over the last 10 years, just how extraordinary 2024 was for the president-elect.
This is the second time that Trump's been named Times Person of the Year. He celebrated today by doing something he's never done before: ring the opening bell of the New York Stock Exchange. Police have more forensic evidence linking 26-year-old Luigi Mangione to the murder of a health insurance CEO. The gun recovered from the suspect at the time of his capture matches 3 shell casings from the crime scene in Midtown Manhattan. Police also found Mangione's fingerprints on a water bottle and food wrapper near where 50-year-old Brian Thompson was shot and killed. With the writing on the wall, FBI Director Christopher Wray says he will resign before Donald Trump takes office in January.
That would be a terrific first step towards restoring some confidence in the FBI.
Missouri Senator Josh Hawley says Christopher Wray did a lot of damage during his 7 years at the FBI.
Who, for instance, came up with the idea to try to recruit spies in Catholic churches? Who is it who gave the green light to send SWAT teams to the homes of pro-life demonstrators? Who is it that green-lighted sending the FBI to the homes of parents who went to school board meetings?
The president-elect calls Wray's resignation a great day for America. Trump's nominated longtime aide Kash Patel to head the FBI in his second administration. Days after the fall of the Assad regime in Syria comes word of the release of an American who was imprisoned there for 7 months. Travis Timmerman of Missouri discovered this week walking barefoot in the mountains between Syria and Lebanon. He was held at a notorious jail near Damascus.
It wasn't bad. I was never beaten. The only really bad part was that I couldn't go to the bathroom when I wanted to. I was only let out 3 times a day to go to the bathroom.
Timmerman was imprisoned for crossing Syria's border illegally while on a Christian pilgrimage. The White House announcing today that the president is commuting the sentences of 1,500 people who were released from prison and placed in home confinement during COVID. In addition, President Biden has pardoned 39 others with non-violent convictions. The White House calls it the largest single-day act of clemency in modern history. A big meeting in a blue city today. New York City Mayor Eric Adams has a sit-down with Tom Homan. He's the president-elect's border czar.
The two are expected to discuss deporting migrants who commit crimes, the migrant crisis in the city, and federal immigration policy. Tom Homan has threatened to withhold funding from sanctuary cities that don't cooperate with deportation plans. New York is a sanctuary city, but Mayor Adams, he has said that he would like local law enforcement to work with federal immigration agents to identify and deport migrants committing crimes.
Scott Pringle reporting there are nearly 60,000 illegal immigrants with criminal records in New York City today. One of the nation's leading pediatricians is out today with some advice on what toys to avoid for young children this Christmas.
December is National Safe Toys and Gifts Month. Adam Keating, a pediatrician for the Cleveland Clinic, says any part of a toy that can fit through a toilet paper roll is a choking hazard for children under the age of 3. Toys with magnets and button batteries are a concern as well because a child can swallow them. He says children should be kept from playing with toys with sharp edges, and anyone buying an electric scooter for their child should buy a helmet along with it. More than 150,000 children under the age of 12 were treated in emergency rooms this past year for toy-related injuries. I'm Tammy Trujillo.
All right, Tammy, thank you very much. Next from us at noon today, some advice for those of you who are trapped in the wrappings and wrapped in the trappings of yet another busy Christmas season. Family Life's Greg Gillespie says don't miss the reason for the season in the hustle and bustle of the holidays.
This time of December, with so much happening with school programs and with all the family orientation and all of the cultural and religious expectations that Advent and Christmas and all these holidays have, we're going to get some encouragement for us to slow down and reprioritize. Our guest today is Joe Beckler. He is Vice President of Development and Communications for the Christian Businessmen's Connection.
Well, I think the biggest challenge for anyone, both men and women right now in this season, is that it feels like the rate of activity goes out the roof. And this happens in all domains of life, doesn't it? It's a pressure cooker because you're oftentimes dealing with requirements related to your business. You're dealing with just the domain of life. And so whatever's happening in your life, a young family, an aging family coming together, the additional scheduling of events tied to this time of year, there are so many things coming at us. It increases, at least in my head, and I think this is the case for many other men that I talk to, it makes this month go by so fast. It makes the moment of Christmas feel like a flash in the pan. We really want them to experience the balance that Jesus talks about. That doesn't necessarily guarantee that things get easy around us because the pressures of business are still there. The dynamics of family are still there. It's a matter of something deeper and more profound when we tie into Jesus and tie into the significance of this Christmas season.
It's really odd that we feel such dread and overwhelm in a same season that has such hope and promise. You know, the hopes and fears of all the years are met up in Christ. Your organization, the Christian Businessmen's Connection, has a wonderful blog for men, and one of your recent posts was describing slowing down to greet our Savior, a game plan that will make this a more spiritual and more sane season.
Absolutely. Here's some pro tips, and we're all trying to lean in on these. First and foremost, as we're moving through these days, schedule time to get quiet, to get into the Word of God each day. This is one of the most centering things we can do because it gets our eyes and our minds and our hearts focused on the main thing. Think about the Gospel of Luke. As you're slowing down to greet your Savior, time getting to know Him. So putting a stake in the ground and saying, I'm going to do something different, whether it's 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, find a moment where you can get quiet and get into the Word each day. Second, be present where your feet are. It's really trying to figure out, how do you live in the moment? What is God doing in the moment? This Christmas season can be a brilliant time to do that and identify what is God doing around me, and what is God doing in the midst of the moment, whether it's a kids' choir concert, you're at church, work, whether the pressure is intense or it's gearing down this time of the year. Maybe it's a Christmas party or time with family. There's such an easy temptation, right, to drift into something else. I think just being present in the moment doesn't make the challenges and the stress go away. It just focuses you on the main things. And God works through that. And then finally, one last thing, Greg, I'd say is the main thing. Be grateful that Jesus came. Center on that. Let this reality, this historical reality set in, that Jesus was born in Bethlehem, God in the flesh, born as a baby, a vulnerable baby, and this was the door opening to change everything, a game changer for all creation. The profound nature of the birth of Christ, the profound significance of a God who's willing to be a human so he can show us what it looks like, God in the flesh.
Joe Beckler is with Christian Businessmen's Connection, which exists to guide men at any stage of their careers to live out faith and work, and they're pushing for a spiritual Christmas season. You can find the blog we talked about at cbmc.com. You'll also find that link on the Family Life News podcast page. I'm Greg Gillespie, Family Life News.
All right, Greg, thank you very much. And this is the Noon Report for Thursday on Family Life.
Good afternoon. Here is your Family Life regional weather forecast. Well, yesterday was a story of gray and soggy. Today, a story of windy and wintry across the region owing to the passage of a potent cold front last night. Behind that front, those gusty winds ushering in much colder air and still keeping those lake snows alive. Our forecast for this afternoon, windy and cold. Now, in the lake effect snows, several more inches will accumulate. Those will be in areas east of Lake Erie and south of Buffalo, and also well north of Syracuse. Elsewhere and otherwise, clouds, intervals of sun, and some snow showers, giving a dusting to an inch or two in spots. Temperatures mostly in the 20s, wind chills often in the single digits. Still a few lake flakes tonight, otherwise partly cloudy, cold, low in the teens. Then for tomorrow, mix of clouds and sunshine, perhaps a flurry, high temperatures 20s and low 30s.
All right, Kevin, that's a biting breeze out there, folks. Make sure you bundle up if you're headed out. And finally at noon, we're in the thick of it now, deep into the gift-giving season that is Christmas. And if your list for gifts this year includes somebody more naughty than nice, well, there is an out for you. Here's reporter Bree Tennis.
Miss Manners says gift giving is a two-part process. The giver chooses something based on need and want and delivers that gift out of pleasure and kindness. Then comes part two. The recipient is expected to show gratitude. But if that doesn't happen over and over, there's an out. Miss Manners, the authority on etiquette, says you have permission to stop gift giving because 'tis the season to be generous, not crazy. She says you're opting out of gift giving, not the holiday. I'm Bree Tennis.
All right, thank you, Bree. And just like that, our time is up. That's our world, the world we live in. Thursday, December 12th. I'm Bob Price. Family Life News.
You've been listening to the Noon Report, heard weekdays on Family Life. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening to this Family Life News podcast. If you've been encouraged by what you've heard, please share it with others and click the subscribe button to automatically receive future episodes. Family Life is a listener-supported ministry. Podcasts like this are made possible by your financial partnership. Find out more at familylife.org.